we heard those sermons. We were Black because Cain killed Abel, and it was crazy stuff like that. And
Wait, we
they,
were
tr-
Black
they, tr-
because
yeah, Cain. You got to hear this part. Cain turned black after he killed Abel.
as his punishment?
Yeah.
I'm a punishment.
We can talk about it right here, right now, lanisa. You know we lit. Black and cultivated. Cults ain't just some white people shit. And if we offend you, you can turn us off right now. Cause we gon' talk about it all, light and darkness, even the evil in politics. That's all, that's it. Black and cultivated. You love it or you hate it.
All right, y'all. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome someone who is Black and who is cultivated. Now, I don't know Pam personally, but we have a lot in common because we grew up in the same church. Different states, but the same church. Different cities, different years, but the same bullshit. So I was very excited to talk to someone who's not my peer about their experience. So welcome to the podcast, Pamela Redd.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be
Me
here.
too. Thank you. I appreciate you.
It's something I've always kind of wanted to talk about. So this is a perfect venue for me.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so grateful that you said yes. I'm going to brag on you a little bit. So, Pam Redd is an educator, an attorney, a mentor, and an artist. She has worked as an educator, teacher, assistant principal, and principal in both public and private sectors for over 30 years. Plus, she's an attorney. Pam specializes in commercial litigation and bankruptcy. On top of that, she's been given the gift of vocals. She has performed as a singer and a pianist for over 40 years all across the country. Miss Redd got degrees on degrees, including Houston Christian University, Prairie View A&M University, and the University of Houston Law Center, JD. So, you are brilliant. Awesome. Cool.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
My first question, as always, is what is the name of your cult?
Well, when we started way back when, it was the Radio Church of God.
Oh,
And then it went to Worldwide Church of
Worldwide Church of God.
God.
My
Yes.
church. Yay! The Worldwide Church of God. They were born in 1934, so they're part of the silent generation. They old as fuck. Worldwide Church of God had a slow-ass death. It was first marked by the leader dying in 1986. Then, over the years, with the infighting and the changing of theologies, the name finally took its last bow in 2009. But a lot of the ideologies live on in WCG offshoots. Worldwide Church of God was born in Oregon. Its daddy was Herbert W Armstrong. Armstrong was a radio and television evangelist who claimed he was like the only homie able to interpret the Bible for us basic heathens. His doctrine, usually called or commonly called Armstrongism, was kind of shady. There's tons of non-traditional beliefs, but a few that stand out. Number one, Armstrong's doomsday prophecies. He predicted the end of the world in 1935, 1943, 1972, 1975. And guess what? He was wrong on all of them. So after 1975 didn't pan out, he just said, y'all just be ready because something's about to come. Number two, British Israelism. Armstrong heavily promoted British Israelism, which is basically the idea that white folks from the UK are the true descendants of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. It's some fake-ass history to support white supremacy. Number three, how much we tithe. Try to keep up. There was first tithe, second tithe, and every third and sixth year of a 7-year cycle was a third tithe. On top of that, there was a tithe of the tithe, which was 10% of the second tithe. You got it? Yeah, me neither, and I was born into it. Let's just say they were taking a lot of your money. If you are interested in swiping right on this cult, you should know what our leader looks like. He an old white dude. He looked like a white hair prune. Armstrong was one of those dudes who has always looked old. I don't know his height exactly, but he was giving short king vibes. Interests include money, end-time prophecies, and Jewish holy days. They are looking for someone who is anti-miscegenation, because that is a no-no in the church, someone keeping the Sabbath, and someone interested in giving up their hard-earned money. Now, we always said WCG.
We said WWCG.
It's so interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Well, let's back it up. Were you born and raised, or did you join the church? Give me your history.
I was not born into it, but almost. I was 5 when my parents started attending. I remember 2 white men coming to our house. And I remember it because those were the days when we were segregated as a society. So to have white people to come to your house was a big deal.
Wow.
And then we started going to this church. I mean, I don't remember them what they talked about or anything, but then we started going to this church, and we drove to Houston from Beaumont every week, which is about 90 miles one way.
Yo, y'all were driving that far on Saturday, because keep in mind, our church is on Saturday.
And then we eventually moved to Houston, which broke my grandmother's heart.
So y'all moved to get closer to the church?
Only for the church, yes.
Did your parents explain anything to you about it?
No, other than the fact that we wouldn't be keeping Christmas, which, I was the first. I have a brother, but I was the first, and I was also the first grandkid. So Christmas, I remember. I mean, I got gifts, everything, but I remember them telling me that we weren't going to be keeping Christmas anymore.
I didn't even think about that, because
Been mad about it.
I've been big mad.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about that, because for our audience that doesn't know, we did not celebrate Christmas, Easter, Halloween. These were all pagan holidays. And because I was born into it, I never knew Christmas in the same sense. Now, my mom would sneak Christmas to us, but it was very weird because my dad was like, no, we don't celebrate. But for you experienced full Christmas.
And I was very young, but it left an impression on me.
And there was no real explanation. It's just like, we don't do that no more.
No, we just don't do that. And this is what the church believes. And Christ wasn't born on that day. And I'm like, so?
I know.
Okay. I still want gifts.
Right. So I guess that leads to my question then. How did you get an understanding of our religion? And I guess, when did you get an understanding of our religion and how it was different from other folks?
Well, I don't know if they were doing that in your era, but we had the Bible correspondence course that all young people were strongly encouraged to take. And it was you would get something in the mail, you had to read and answer questions. That's why I'm good at taking tests, and that's why I have so many degrees. But we would have to write out the answers to these questions, and they were all about the Bible. And then on top of that, my dad had us to listen to the broadcast, and then we'd have to do summaries of what we heard.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I did more so than my brother, because I'm about 5 years older than him.
Your brother was like, nah, I'm a baby. I'm good.
Yeah, to show you how, I guess, brainwashed we were as kids, like 10 maybe. When they call out the scriptures, we all had our Bibles, and we would race to see who could get there first.
Yeah, I did do that.
Yeah, well, that's kind of.
I know what First Corinthians is.
That's kind of weird. That's really kind of weird.
And I would do it too, proud.
Yeah.
I know where Deuteronomy is.
First.
What was the demographic in your church?
Oh, I'd say maybe 80% white initially, and 20% Black, and we sat separately. Yes, Black people had their own section where we sat. Now, we could talk to each other before and after church, but we couldn't sit together. Because, that was a big deal in church. Can I sit with my friends? But we couldn't sit with the white people at first. I mean, things change as society started changing.
Right.
I went to an all-black school.
Right.
I mean, in an all-black neighborhood, and it wasn't until I was maybe 10 or 11 that Houston started
Yeah.
desegregating, and so yeah.
So in some ways, Worldwide Church of God was a little progressive because we are at least allowed in the same building.
Well, I will say this. I remember some of my friends from school who had never been around white people because we're coming from all black,
Right.
and now we're going to school with white people. Well, they were not a mystery. Whereas
Interesting.
some of my friends, they were, white people, I didn't know they did this. Yeah, it's like us.
It's
It's the
like they're just
same.
white.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them dumb, some of them smart.
Right.
Yeah, some of them cute, some of them ugly.
Right. Same
But
thing,
yeah,
y'all.
yeah, yeah,
You know, that's
yeah.
actually one of the other ladies that I interviewed who's my peer. She said the exact same thing. She said, I
Hmm.
was more prepared for a white world because of church. Now, ours was more 50-50, 50% black, 50% white. But she said she felt more prepared than her cousins because she was like, it's just white people, y'all. It's the same thing. I sit next to them at church. By that time,
Right.
we were allowed to sit next to each other.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Progression. We
Uh,
progress. Oh,
yeah.
that's so interesting. What is day-to-day life like for you?
I came home. I did my homework. I did my Bible correspondence course, and I read, played the piano, that kind of stuff.
Because we were allowed to go to school, regular school. We didn't, because, the World Church of God didn't have like a homeschool program or a regular school
No.
program.
Mm-mm.
My probably most traumatic memory is always being pulled out for holiday parties. Since we didn't celebrate anything, literally being pulled out for Halloween parties, but made to sit in the classroom just in the corner while everybody else was so shady.
Oh wow, that's bad.
It's
That's
bad.
bad.
Meanwhile, everybody else eating Snickers. I was like, all I want is a damn cookie. Why can't
Exactly. And some punch.
I just want some damn
That's
punch?
it. That's it. Yeah.
Why? I didn't
Yeah.
get it. I didn't get it at all.
Yeah.
And that's weird because it automatically separates you
Oh yeah. Yeah.
from the kids in the class. And they're like, who's this
Right.
weirdo?
Right.
Why can't you
Right.
celebrate? Oh, it was very
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah. I remember as a principal, those kids that couldn't participate, they got to hang out with me and we would do fun stuff.
Oh my
Mhm. Yes. I
oh
mean that was my like, I'm gonna make this happen. So we would walk around the school. I'd let him have a clipboard and just to
yeah.
make it fun because I knew what that felt.
You knew what
I
it was
knew what that
like.
felt like. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow. You really went into your calling and said, hey,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
beautiful. I didn't even connect the two. Oh,
Because the
wow.
look on their little face.
Of
I
course.
mean, I'm sure that's how we looked.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, we're gonna have some. They're gonna hang out with Miss Red today.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
oh, why didn't I have you as a teacher? Damn.
My parents made a big deal, especially in elementary school, of coming to the school. Well, my child will not be celebrating Christmas, or, that kind of stuff. And so then that
Wow.
made you weird.
Yeah.
But um, academically, I thought, well, I'll just be smarter than everybody.
I have never put that uh,
Oh yeah,
thought,
that.
but that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense for a lot of
Mm-hmm.
us. I ended up going
Mm-hmm.
to like the gifted high school. I was the one, I was also an avid reader. I would escape at the library and in books because I had this weird religion thing going on.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
understand it, so I know where I can't escape to. What were some of the weirder or non-mainstream beliefs or customs that felt the most outlandish or toxic to you?
Christmas. That's that's first. But the whole not calling your biological family your family. The church people were supposed to be your family.
Wait, so the church enforced to isolate yourself essentially.
Essentially. I mean, and people did it, and they broke that rule, but you always felt guilty because you were hanging out with your family, your
Wow.
biological family of origin, whatever.
Yeah.
I always thought that was weird, and I think it did a lot of damage.
Yeah.
When one of my uncles passed away, I was talking to his kids who are younger, they're 40-ish, and I was telling them some things, and they were like, "Oh, we didn't know that. We just thought y'all didn't like us."
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah. But I mean, what else would you think? Well, everybody else comes and
Yeah.
they're all around except those Houston people.
Yeah.
They must think they're better
They
than
must
us,
think
or
they're better than us
whatever. Yeah, yeah.
because you don't know what else to put to it. Like it
Hmm.
must be
Hmm.
that. You mentioned you have a brother. Have y'all did y'all ever talk about your experiences in it?
Oh yeah,
What did it
yeah,
look
yeah.
like?
Surprisingly, he took it very seriously, and he went to the University of Texas. He's an engineer, and when he graduated, he said, "It dawned on me. I'm sitting around here on Friday night. Everybody's out having a good time. And I'm scared to go somewhere because it's the Sabbath." And he started coming out of it.
Wow. It took him to college and he's like, "Wait a second."
College.
Yeah. Yeah.
College. And even after he graduated, he was kind of going to church. He said, "Yeah, I'm staying out all night on Friday night and getting up and going to church, because I felt guilty." And then he said, "It was like, this is weird. This shit is weird.
This
I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it anymore."
this shit's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah, yeah.
There
And
was
he's in New York now.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was like, "I'm out." Either people ran hard far away like me. I was like, I counted down the days. I remember being like, okay, I'm 17. I'm in my senior year. I'm out. Like I was counting down because I'm like, I am not going because I did not want to celebrate Feast of Tabernacles anymore. Feast of Tabernacles, was basically our pilgrimage. You would leave for 2 weeks straight, about 2 weeks. You're supposed to go to another city, country, state, and we would have church all day.
All day.
When I say all day, I mean all day.
All day.
I was in the youth choir during Feast of Tabernacles. We played games. So thinking back, it was our vacation. It was our Christmas in some ways. Because I remember my dad would buy us gifts.
Feast gifts.
Yeah. You would get a little feast.
What'd you get for your big present?
Yeah. I'm like, you mean Christmas? This is Christmas, y'all. So we went on these trips. And as I got older, I said, this is affecting my academics. I can't do this anymore. I want to go to college. I want to do other stuff. I'm not going anymore. And I put my foot down. I was like, I'm not going. And somehow, probably because my mom was not in it, they listened and they were like, okay, she ain't got to go no more. But those took a toll.
They did. And in my case, the feast was like the time I could be free in a way. So I kind of looked forward to it.
Wait,
They
talk
didn't
to me
keep
about
this.
that.
Well, we went to Big Sandy
Okay.
and we stayed on the campgrounds. Have you ever been down to Big Sandy?
No, we never made it. We ain't had no money like
Oh,
that.
well, we're from Texas, so we drove there, but uh, Big Sandy is that's where the college was. But they also had a campground. When we first started attending, the white people were at the front of the campground, and then you would travel down and you would see Negro camp area.
What?
Yes, yes. And
What?
so,
The Negro camp area.
yeah, and here we are. But a lot of people, a lot of black people came to Big Sandy. So people in my age group, we kind of know each other, even though we live in different parts of the country.
Yeah.
Because everybody came to Big Sandy back then.
Wow. Yeah, we
Yeah.
never made it to the Big Sandy. For people that don't know, Big Sandy in Pasadena was our Mecca in the States.
Mm-hmm.
That was the Mecca. That was the college. That's where headquarters. So we ain't make it there. But
Yeah.
that's wild. The Negro camp area.
And then they had the camp divided and they had captains. It was based on some scripture. We had captain of 1,000, captain of 50, 100, all this stuff. My dad was a captain, and we had a sign in front of our tent.
Well, I guess they would let black folks be the captain of black
Oh, the
folks.
black
Right.
folks, right. Yeah.
He can't be no captain up front.
Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, no.
He can't be no. That's another thing I'd love to talk about because my generation started to see the cracks of allowing of the racial differences. We didn't get it necessarily, but we knew something was fucking off. My mom would always say like, why are white people treated differently in your church? This is weird. It honestly wasn't until maybe 10 years ago that I really understand the theology behind Armstrongism and British Israelism and how it was essentially a racist-ish theology
Absolutely.
that puts white folks up top. I'm like, oh, that's why they were mad.
Mm-hmm.
And also discovering Armstrong's speech about interracial marriage.
Oh, that was the unpardonable sin. I mean, it was, you just don't do it.
How was that? Did y'all hear those sermons? Did you know? Because we didn't know. We knew something was weird.
Yes, we heard those sermons. We were black because Cain killed Abel, and it was crazy stuff like that. And
Wait, we were black
they
because
yeah, Cain. You got to hear this part. Cain turned black after he killed Abel.
as his punishment,
Yeah,
I'm a punishment.
yeah. So they tried to soften that message, and so we were in the church, so we were spiritual Israelites, unlike the other black people in the world, including your family.
So we're good Negroes.
Yeah.
We're as good as a Negro as we could be, considering we had turned black.
Well, yeah, our ancestors turned.
Let's take a break.
That was a huge fight within our church, late 80s and 90s. Why don't we have more diverse leadership that reflects your congregation? And it was a huge, oh, well, we got to take it to headquarters. We have to da-da-da-da. And that's when people started like, we could see the cracks. People were like, wait, what's going on? Wait, how come he can't be a leader? I don't understand. We saw what that looked like and in real time. Could you feel how white people were treated better within the church? Could you instantly feel that? And yes, we felt that too.
Yeah, all the time. I mean, most of the ministers were white. Most of the deacons were white. Most of the choir was white.
Yeah.
They had the spokesman club, which my brother, when he was little, used to call the Popo Club, and they were white.
Yeah.
And the white people that I did make friends with, we were all kind of like, shit, this is, on one hand, but then again, there's that pull of wanting to be accepted and loved by your parents. So
Right.
you try to do the right thing. And, they would tell you if you weren't being obedient, that you weren't converted. And now when I think about that term, it sounds like something on TV
Yeah.
about cults.
Exactly.
Everybody should be converted.
Yeah. You
And
have to
I'm
be
like,
obedient.
no, that sounds like body snatchers or something. I mean, and if you didn't, you weren't converted. And if that's your war, I was afraid to step out.
Exactly.
That's why I ended up going to Ambassador College.
Ambassador, we'll get to that. That was like #goals because I was like, I have got to get to ambassador. That was the mecca of colleges.
Oh, yeah.
You were something if you went. You come back to your congregation during the summer. Oh, how's ambassador?
Hi. And they ask you all these spiritual questions.
Right. Are
and
you
try
learning?
Try to answer. And,
Y'all.
do they talk to you about this? And I'm like, yes, well, they say this.
Hyped. We would have like special, like some of the folks that would come back could come speak to the youth about their experience. And we're all like little eager kids like, wow, one day I too want to go to Ambassador College. It was definitely another way to make people feel like they were better. Like,
Mm-hmm.
look what we're doing. We're really
Mm-hmm.
preparing people for the future. We have a college. At that time, it was accredited. Then it got not accredited. Then it,
And that's when I left.
right. Which was very confusing. I was like, what's credited to me? I don't know what that means. I did think about this, but you said when you were about to go to college, that's when we were supposed to go to Petra because, and I read this earlier, Herbert W Armstrong uh, uh, um, prophesied that the world was ending, I think in 34, 43, 72, and then last one was around 75.
Mm-hmm.
You then remember those messages of the world ending.
Yeah. Yes. 1975 in prophecy is a book.
How do you even rationalize that in your brain where you're like, does my neighbor know in 3 months the world is over?
I remember asking my parents, and I got in so much trouble for this. Okay, the scripture says, no man knows the hour. So if we've already said it's 1975, could God move it? Of course, I had selfish motive. Could he move it till later since we think we already know?
Because I'm trying to go to college and get out of here.
I'm trying to go to
You were
yeah.
like, can we just
Mhm.
wait to 1980?
Because if we say we know, and the Bible says nobody knows, well, he could move it.
That's what I
Oh,
never understood because after then, he just said, Armstrong basically was like, y'all just be ready. Just get ready. It's going to come. He stopped. And I always wonder, I'm like, how did he not lose tons of followers after four wrong predictions? How were people still like, all right, we still gonna roll with you?
Mhm.
And he did it. Because
And that is brainwashing.
it's brainwashing.
That's brainwashing. It really, really is.
Because by the 80s, that's when they were in the height of making the most bank. They were making money off of us. They were balling. The financial abuse, for me, is one of the hardest things. Yeah, I had to sit out for Halloween, blah, blah, blah. But for some reason, I think being grown now, the financial abuse feels so damaging for me and my family and my friend's family.
Right.
It just is. It was horrible. The tithing. I was trying to explain to somebody how we tithe, and they were like, "What?"
What? Yeah.
So
Yeah.
explain tithing for the Worldwide Church of
Okay.
God.
Tithing. There are 3 tithes. The first tithe is 10%, and that's every year. The second tithe is another 10%. But you get to keep that and spend it at like the Feast of Tabernacles. The third tithe, that is 30%. You pay that every 3 years, and it's like a Social Security type thing to take care of the older people that the older people never saw.
They never saw it.
My parents never saw 1 penny.
Yeah.
One of my cousins was like, "Let's go. We need to go up there. We need to get your money
Get your
back."
money.
You know. Yeah, but
Yeah, it was the third tithe was supposed to be for seniors and widowers.
right.
I don't know one senior that ever got that money.
No, I mean, I think you would get assistance if something happened,
But they ain't get no
but
money.
they didn't get a subsidy. No.
There was also, and I honestly I don't remember. I had to go back and research a extra 10% on the second tithe. I think like every other year. It was something.
It's called, I know, it's called the tithe of the tithe.
What does that mean?
That means send me some more money. That's what that means.
So essentially, from your income, from the gross or whatever, 40%.
Wait a minute, and that is on top of the offerings
Offerings are
and
different.
the holy day offerings. Well, you gave even more.
Which I actually forgot about because we would pass the bucket around. I put in my little quarter. It's a little 10-year-old. Like, all right. But there was not only tithe where my dad would get the envelopes, and I thought we were fancy. Because they would send us envelopes with his name printed out. This is for Robert J. Frederick for his tithe. And he'd put his check
Mhm.
in. But then we would
Yeah.
go to church and in the bucket,
Give some more
put
money,
some more
some more
money
money,
in.
some more money. And then on the holy day, not holiday, holy days, you give even more and you kind of like let people see so they knew you were giving more than everybody else.
Oh, it was a big show thing because we would be like,
Oh, yeah.
put it in.
Yeah, yeah.
Did everyone see that I put in more
That I put
money?
in more than everybody on
Every
this row.
So that
Yeah.
feels so much more traumatic to me because I remember the fights my parents would have. Because my mom used to be
Mm,
like, you will not get more points in heaven for putting in more money. Your children need to eat. You have
mhm.
3 kids. Putting in more money will not bring in more bread. And so that was
Right.
always the huge fight in our family because he wanted to give the church more, keep giving the church more. And my mom was like, God's not keeping points. He's not I swear God doesn't keep points.
Yeah, it was really, really unfortunate that people were so brainwashed. And when I watch any kind of show and I look at, people in a cult, you're in it and you don't realize that your thinking is off.
Yeah.
And even in my rebellious state from time to time, I was still very much inside.
Yeah.
Very, very much. My dad was a song leader. I played the hymns, and
That's all you know.
that's all you know.
You might see differently,
Yeah,
but when you're constantly being taught, we are the chosen ones.
we're the chosen ones, and they're worldly, and you don't think it takes a toll on you until, now that I'm older and I've looked back, I really didn't know what look friends
Yeah.
that weren't in the church.
Yeah.
I really had no idea.
Yeah. I do feel very grateful that I feel like saving grace, whatever word you want to use, is that my mom was not a
Hmm.
member. Now, and I learned from having my interview with my other peers that they talk some shit about my mama.
Oh, I bet, 'cause she was not
She
submissive.
was not. She was like, y'all weird. I'm not going there.
Whereas my mother was the ultimate World War Church of God. She baked she baked bread. We scrubbed the toaster and things of unleavened bread. And I say this now because like I said, I can look
Yeah.
back. Um, the maternal instinct wasn't there. It was compliance, and as long as I was acting like a good church girl, she was almost like a stepper.
Yeah.
And so as long as I act like a stepper daughter, I was okay. But when I didn't and just try to be like regular,
Yeah.
then you know,
It's very heartbreaking because it's like, I wonder who these folks would have been without the church.
my brother and I talk about that all the time. Our parents were brilliant people.
Yeah.
They're very smart people,
Yeah.
but limited because they lived their life inside of the World War Church of God until my dad until he passed, and my mom is 90, she'll be 91,
Wow.
and she's still kind of hangs on. It's a lot she doesn't remember, but uh, when I started getting her mail and things at my house because she's in a facility, she was still getting some of the worldwide. I guess it's not worldwide, it's whatever it
Yeah.
was.
I forget
Some other
now.
church.
Yeah.
Take me off this mailing
Right. Take
list.
me
I
off.
don't want this in. I don't want this in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she was still getting it up to a year ago.
Wow. I get it. Like, how do you break away from what you've been in your entire life? And I think
Hmm.
one of the reasons why I want to do the podcast is because you said something. You said, my parents are smart. A lot of people have judgment and stereotypes about people that have been in cults. Like, you must be dumb. How did you do that? You're dumb. I'm like, no, your parents were brilliant. My folks are both college educated. My dad was a lab technician at a hospital. Like, These are smart people. I talked to another lady. She was an engineer, Black woman, like brilliant people. It's not hard to get got.
It's not. It's not. It's not at all. It's something that they tap into, and once they tap it, that you're in.
Yeah. And you got to think about the timing, the years, where
Mm-hmm.
you are
Mm-hmm.
vulnerably. Like you said, your
Mm-hmm.
dad had lost his brother. That's a
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable opening.
Mm-hmm.
And it just happened to coincide with boom. Now you're in the Worldwide Church of God and you ain't got no
Right.
Christmas. Well, okay. So you're the first one that I've had on that went to Ambassador. Talk to me about Ambassador College.
When I went, I was 17 years old because I graduated
Of
early because
course
I
you did.
was,
I
you know,
graduated at
yes,
17
yes.
as well.
See, yeah, yeah. So I tried out for the New World Singers, Ambassador College, and it was not just the choir; it was the New World
The New
Singers,
World Singers.
and there were 16 of us,
Oh, it's a small little group.
small group. And I'm in La La Land because I'm just like happy I can even participate in something. And so we go, and there's 16 of us. I know how to read music, and we sing and all this stuff. And they said, "Oh yeah, when it's time for to go to the feast, we're gonna go to the feast show. We're gonna do all this stuff." And it was like, yeah, anyway, it
Hyped.
was good. We performed at Disney World in Florida.
Yeah.
We did that. We went all around the country. We were at the feast shows, all that stuff. And then I got tapped to go on the personal appearance tours with Black and Armstrong.
You did?
I did.
You went on personal appearance tours.
The personal appearance tours, yes.
So did you meet him?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
I met Herbert too.
That's wild.
I've been in the same room with him more than once.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
kind of I'm shook because I'm like, wow, I've never thought about
And that's
that.
interesting that, you have that reaction because, I mean, my opinion of them is very low. Not at the time, I thought,
And
oh,
it's crazy. I'm
why?
like, no, I recognize he was a cult leader that spewed racist shit, but there's still
Mhm.
something in me that went, whoa, you got to meet the leader.
You met him?
Right.
Yeah,
Isn't
yeah.
that wild?
Yeah, it is. I was like, yeah, I did. But he was extremely charismatic and
Charismatic leader, get you every time.
and very vain. And now I'm looking at him through these eyes. Vain and pompous. But he was like a movie star
Yeah, he was our movie
to
star.
people. And when we went on personal appearance tours, we got the kind of the fallout from the people would ask us for our article. I'm 18. I'm like, yes.
Oh, so you were like, we made it?
And we traveled either by bus or airplane. We stayed in hotels. We didn't have to pay for anything. For room service, we would just sign the bill.
Yeah, because our parents were paying for it through their tithes.
Exactly. I mean, now I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, but
You didn't
yeah, I was living large,
Wow.
and it's like, oh, well, yes, I'd have this, and I'll just sign. That's my remember. I'm 18.
Do you remember how much Ambassador College was?
I don't think it was very much,
I'm
but
curious.
see, I don't think my parents paid for all of it. I think they may have had some, because we were the Negroes who were getting to go for the third year. This was the third year they were accepting Negroes. Yes. So I don't know that they had to pay very much, if anything.
They were like, we'll let a few more Negroes in.
Yes. Negras. That's the women.
Wow. And
Mhm.
in that, how segregated or how much did Black folks just hang out with each other? Because you're like, we all we get. And were there discussions around that?
Oh, black people, we knew each other or knew it, right from the camping days in the Negro camping. And so we hung out. Oh, absolutely. And I had a Black boyfriend that somebody I would, I'm not going to really talk that bad about him, but I don't know that we ever would have dated, ever.
You are not the first person to say that.
But he was a singer. I was a
Yep.
singer. He was in the church. I was in the church.
Yeah.
He was in the New World Singers. I was in.
Yeah.
And people don't understand if they're not in it when you say, well, I was with my people that went to church, because they think it's like normal. You just go to church and then you go home and you don't talk to each other for a week.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. We were in mesh.
Yeah.
And I've been married and divorced twice to people in the church.
Oh. Because you're enmeshed in each
Mhm.
other's lives and you
Enmeshed.
know.
And we understand each other on some level. Even though we may not have anything else in common, we understand each
Yeah.
other.
We'll be right back.
We did have good times. You enjoyed your status. You got
Yes, I
you got
did.
to have room service.
Mhm.
How do we reckon that with the craziness that happened? It's not black and
And you know,
white.
you did. I was going to say you don't. I mean, there are experiences that I've had that I maybe never would have had my parents not moved to Houston and we were in this church. Or maybe I could have had a different experience where I went a whole different route, because my brother and I had no idea what Ivy League colleges were, and we probably would have been
Yeah.
admitted. But we didn't even know. I mean, U of H, University of Houston,
Yeah.
Texas Southern, Prairie View. That's what we knew. That was our world, and Bedford
Yeah.
College. That was it. So to balance that, it's hard to know. Um, I come from a musical family, so I was always involved with music, and I took piano lessons. So, I don't know where it would have
Yeah.
taken if it had been different. But to say that I'm appreciative goes too
Yeah.
far, but I'm not unappreciative.
Yes. I think it's a weird balance. Anyone that's been in groups
Mm-hmm.
like this, we have,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know if I would have really discovered my love of travel had it not been for the feast. My parents did travel, but for us to be like, we're going to Florida for 2 weeks, cool. Even if we fly on or drive or whatever, we're going to Wisconsin, so going to all these places that honestly some of my peers hadn't been to.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I don't know if I would have had that had I not been in the
Right.
church. So it's a weird balance. It's like, yeah,
It is a balance. Yeah. It came at a cost.
ooh, it came at a cost.
Yeah.
There's the clip for the Instagram. It came at a cost. Are you religious now?
Yes.
Ooh. How did you?
I believe in God, and I chose to become Catholic because I was baptized Catholic as a baby. One side of my family is Catholic. The seriousness and calmness appeals to me more than the Baptist side
Interesting.
of the
Yeah.
family. But am I like caught up like, yes, no. But I am a believer. I believe in something outside of myself, and I believe in God. Um, but I made a very conscious decision to become Catholic, not so much because I believe everything. Some of the stuff I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
doing it. But it's nice being in a religion where I feel like I'm free to make my own choices and still be a believer. Whereas in the world, I didn't feel like I had that choice. Like with Catholics, if you say, "Oh, I'm not coming to church this week," it's like, "Oh, okay." But in the worldwide, if you miss, that was a
Oh, that was
sin.
huge.
If you miss, it was not a good,
Yeah.
you know.
That's where the cultiness
Um,
comes in, where they're like, well, where were you?
mhm.
Oh, why
Yeah.
did you do that? Because I remember lying. Oh, I was sick. No, I wasn't. I wanted to go to marching band practice because I played the
No.
flute
Yeah. Yeah.
and I could not miss marching band practice.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
it
Well, my parents, never. I don't think they ever missed. I don't think when I was living at home up to 17, I don't think we ever
Wow.
missed. We were always some of the first ones to get there. My dad was setting up chairs, and we sat in the front.
Ooh, you got to sit in the front?
First, we sat on the first and second row. He was holy, holy. He was so righteous. He had to be at the front,
Wow.
taking notes.
I have actually found notebooks of my dad's, all his
Oh,
notes.
yeah,
So it is very
yeah.
nice since he passed to go back and like read those. But
Mm-hmm,
some of it I'm like,
mm-hmm.
you knew this was some bullshit too. You wouldn't know how to get out.
You had to
You,
know. You had to
you knew this
know.
was some bullshit as well. So let's talk about the light at the end of the tunnel, or as I like to
Mm-hmm,
call, reclaiming my time. Again,
mm-hmm,
nobody wakes up and says, I want to join a cult and I will be in a cult. So you started to see early on the red flags. You
mm-hmm.
started to be like, this ain't right. At what point did
Mm-hmm.
you fully exit?
I did a lot of in and out, and so I kind of drifted away. And my first husband and I were rebels. He had left before me, and so when we got together, he wasn't in it, so it was easy for me not to be in it. And then after we broke up, I came back. I mean, so a lot of ins and outs. So I married a second time to somebody that's in kind of like me coming back
Yeah.
in. Uh, we had to be rebaptized, and that's a whole nother story. But um, we had absolutely nothing in common. But when it was time to divorce, because well, he had a
He had a
friend,
friend. Hmm.
and I was like, you know what, so we're gonna divorce. We weren't even mad by the time. I wasn't even mad that he
You're
had a.
over it.
I wasn't. I wasn't his friend. I mean, it wasn't there. So we told the church we were going to divorce. Why we had to tell them, I have no idea. But they said that we
Oh,
couldn't.
the church told you couldn't divorce.
Oh, yeah. They told me I couldn't. And interestingly enough, the man that was the minister was someone from the local Houston congregation who had gone to Ambassador College, and his wife was a good friend. So they're counseling me, and I'm like, I'm not going
Yeah.
back. I'm out. And so they said, well, you have some time to think about it. And so, yeah. So they called me at the end of the allotted time and said, well, your husband understands he is to take you back. And I said, he doesn't want me back. I don't want to go back, and I'm not going back. Well, then you're disfellowshipped.
Ooh.
Now, as much as I knew I wasn't going back, and I didn't care at that point, those words, because of all of that, those words hit me hard, but it was still, I'm not going back. And, I've been in therapy, and my therapist, when I explained all that happened, she said, you pushed that boundary because you didn't want to be.
Yeah.
That was a way of leaving without it being your
Yeah.
fault. But you didn't really want to be there. So once I started looking at it like that, I felt less, oh, I was disfellowship. And there were people that
Yeah.
shunned me, and now they want to be my
Mm-hmm.
friend. I'm like, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a little tough. It's a little tough.
It's very tough.
It's tough, and I do understand on some level that's because they were friends.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Because
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think Jesus and God said, if somebody does something I don't like, we should never talk to them again
Well, I mean, that's not
at
realistic.
all. Because own
No.
family
Mm-mm.
members had to not talk to other family members.
Oh, yeah. My parents did not come to my wedding. And this is when I married the first time because I was not in the church. And so when I married to husband number two and I was out again, I remember my dad saying, you should have thought about somebody other than yourself because it's I know. Now it's like, yeah, whatever. Now, because it's like, now it's time for the Feast of Tabernacles, and you were supposed to be doing stuff with the music and stuff, and now we don't have anybody to do the music. Not thinking that your daughter is leaving this guy because of whatever reason, it was like,
Yeah.
how would you leave the church stranded?
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't have to leave, and they could let me stay.
Yeah. That's what a cult does. It takes you, it brainwashes you.
Mm-hmm.
You have a
Mm-hmm.
charismatic leader that is takes advantage of you.
Right.
And it's that grace and forgiveness that we have to give ourselves and the people around us as a result.
Mm-hmm.
Whoo!
This is where I think my religious beliefs come in, because I think, despite all of that, of all that craziness that happened to me, I'm okay. I mean, I could be out on the street with, a cook, but I do think, what do they say, God uh, saves children and fools. We were very foolish. And at one point, I was a
Yeah.
child. When I was adult, I was foolish. So I think my guardian angel, or whatever you want to call it, looked out
Yep.
for
Same. That's
me.
a good button.
Yeah.
That's a good button there. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick before we close out, just a few fun
Mhm.
games because this shit is wild.
Okay.
I'm going to name some things. You tell me if it's a cult or nah.
Okay.
Starbucks.
Cult.
It is. People be wild. I'll be like, what's a
I know.
frappe?
And then when you go to Starbucks, I just like black coffee, and you just order a black coffee. It's like it gets
They're
blunt.
like,
Like,
what? You weirdo.
right, I didn't order a da 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 da. I just
We're looked at as
a
weirdos.
small, and I say a small
Yeah.
black coffee.
And they're like, wait, what?
You mean a venti or a tall?
Small. Just give
I just want a little. I
you know
want a
what that
little.
is?
Yeah, it's
It's a cult. It's a cult. Um,
yeah.
Black people in prom.
I'm a little removed from that, so I don't really know.
Okay.
My daughter's 31,
So then
so
when she
yeah.
was probably 18, it wasn't like now it's like prom is huge, which I said it was not a cult because, we as Black people especially, we don't have a lot of rituals. We don't have a quince.
Mhm.
We don't get no bat
Yeah,
mitzvah.
yeah,
Let
yeah.
us have prom.
No, right. Okay. Okay.
Let us
Okay.
do prom big.
Yeah.
Let us have it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Peloton.
Cool.
Peloton cult.
What is?
It's a good. Are you in the Peloton cult?
I'm on the fringes. I'm on the fringes.
You're not a full
Yeah.
member.
Yeah. I'm not
Fair
a full
enough.
member. Yeah.
I'm gonna get in trouble for this one. Hebrew Israelites.
Cool.
I agree. I'm gonna get canceled. I
Cult
agree.
to the yeah. It's Herbert Armstrong Brown. I mean,
Facts.
it's just the same thing. It's just dark skinned people.
Same
saying
thing.
the
It's the same thing.
same. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Oprah. Ooh.
Not a cult. I mean, because there's people that are they don't really. I hear a lot of people say that they don't like her. I mean,
It's
yeah,
Oprah.
yeah. I can take it or not, but it's kinda
Right.
funny. But yeah, but then I don't give to
Right.
Oprah. There are people, I guess, that treat it like a cult, so they give money to her, which I think is
That's true.
ridiculous.
They support her schools, and then I was like, she okay? She fine.
I'm not doing that.
She got money. She okay.
Right.
The practice of manifesting and journaling.
It's trying to be a cult, but a lot of people don't really understand how it works, so they're not really doing it right. So yeah,
It's
it's
a little
cultish.
cultish.
It's
That is
it's
true. It's
cultish. Yeah,
cultish.
yeah. It's
People are,
cultish.
I gotta manifest
Yeah,
my best job and
yeah.
self.
Yes.
Do you know what that means? You
Yeah.
don't know what
Yeah.
that means.
No, they don't. They
I
don't.
agree. What would you like to leave the listeners with?
That there is no norm. There is no
Yeah.
normal. I mean, we're all just here trying to figure it out. I mean, and so no matter what happened to you in your past, you don't want to say it's an abnormal past. You don't want to put that kind of name on it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It happened.
It happened.
And all of it is normal. It was normal to us. but there is no one normal.
It is what it
Yeah,
is.
it is what it is, and it makes us who we
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
So I thank you
And
so much.
oh, well, thank you. This has been
I'm
fun.
so
It's
grateful.
been
You've
fun.
helped me uncover
Yeah,
things
it's been
about my
fun.
own big.
Yeah, it's all, yeah, we all got it.
It's all
Yeah. Yeah.
mixed up in there, and so it's nice to know that
Mm-hmm.
there's another club. There's a club of us that are like, let's talk about it. Let's get these stories out. So
Right.
I am eternally
Right.
grateful. Thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you. Thank you
Of
for
course, I
having me. I
appreciate you.
enjoyed it.
Black and Cultivated is a production of Laugh Now or Wait Till Later. Created and hosted by Lanisa Renee Frederick. Produced by Yinka Rickford Angwin and Lanisa Renee Frederick. Video, audio editing, and all things tech, Antonio Ruiz and Jamil Nelson. Special thanks to Kevin Fredericks and Kev on Stage Studios. Leah Friars, Kara O'Connor, and Amir Edwards. Theme song by Rufus Moore. And finally, thank you. Thank you to each and every one of my guests for courageously opening up and sharing your personal stories on our podcast. Your strength, your resilience, and willingness to share is an inspiration. And for that, I am truly grateful. Deuces.